Overnight, Russell Wilson signed a contract extension, the third most lucrative in the National Football League, a 5-year extension worth $245 million. Only Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen have bigger deals. While there is a guarantee of $165 million, on average, Russ is going to be pulling down about $49 million a year. That's the average, and it only trails Aaron Rodgers, who makes about $50 million a year. Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson, and Patrick Mahomes, all quarterbacks, of course, rounding out the top 5, making between $45 and $46 million each. So just last hour at a press conference, Russell and the Broncos brass were talking about the new deal. Some members of the family even put on helmets. They talked about what this deal means for the quarterback and the franchise going forward.
The reason why I wanted to be here for so long because I trust you two guys up on the stage with me. I believe this is a marriage, and you want to be here for a long time. And you know, my goal is to be able to finish my career here. As I mentioned at the very beginning, this team is unique. It's dedicated to the craft. We have an amazing journey ahead of us, and I can't wait for it.
And I believe this deal is a win-win for everyone, and this allows us to continue building and maintaining a championship roster.
So that just wrapped up, and our Broncos insider Mike Kliss was there. He joins us now live. Mike, of course, we're talking about a tremendous amount of money at the very top of the NFL pay scale, yet many people say this is also a good deal for the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, it's hard to believe when you look at some of those numbers, a $50 million signing bonus, and say that Russ left some money on the table. And he did. You know, he's had 2 previous extensions with Seattle, and both times he was the highest paid NFL player. This time he didn't take that. Some people thought he could have got more guarantee, like Deshaun Watson got. His full contract was guaranteed in Cleveland, and he could have held out for a higher average than Aaron Rodgers, especially when he kind of had the Broncos over the barrel with all the draft picks that they gave up, 2 first rounds, 2 second rounds. But Russell Wilson didn't push for that, and he kind of said it's about winning championships, and by leaving a little money on the table, believe it or not, maybe that'll help them get another player or 2 down the road that'll push them toward that Super Bowl.
Yeah, everyone had a feeling, or at least you seemed to know, that this deal was going to get done. Would have been a surprise if it didn't. But the way it got done was interesting. When you talk about the new ownership, George Paton, Russell Wilson, and his agent, everything kept very quiet right up until the announcement today, Mike.
Yeah, there's so much going on. First of all, what happened was they started talking at the league meetings, which were in late March in Florida, and then they were on pause because the Broncos were for sale. And you want a deal like this, you want the new owners to sign off on it. And so the Penner and the Waltons, they got on board. They bought the team. I think they reached an agreement in early June. They didn't get approved until early to mid-August. So then things really started heating up after the Penner and Waltons were approved for $4.65 billion. What's another $2.296 billion to get the deal done? Right. So their total investment here is about $5 billion. And what's interesting, I think, and where the ownership came in play here, Tom, is that it was a $50 million signing bonus, which is, for the most part, cash up front. And that's where the Waltons come in with their deep pockets.
So it's money, it's fame, it's all of those things. What does it mean to the football team? Does this send anything through the locker room at all? I think everybody expected Russell to get his deal. Yes, they did. I think the message it sends is that they're all in. They're fully committed. You know, ownership is going to do what it takes. It's they made him one of the highest paid players in the game, Russell Wilson. They traded a lot to get him. After where this team has been the last 5-6 years, you know, this 6-year playoff drought, Tom, is the second longest in football. The Detroit Lions have been in the playoffs more recently than the Denver Broncos. Jacksonville has too. So they're all hungry to get to the playoffs. Give Russell whatever he wants as long as he gets the team to the promised land. That's the vibe inside the locker room. Well, we'll talk about this a lot more coming up at 5 o'clock. Just the hope is, I think, that they left some money on the table for this year's edition of Sideline Stories with Jim Sacamano. The price I did hear at the last minute that was a glitch that had to be worked out. So I'm sure you'll get yours, Tom. Yeah, well, we'll see how that works out. Mike, we'll see you at 5. Thanks.